Yo, does defense matter when talking about who the Pelicans should acquire this offseason?
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your host, Chris Connor. Shout out to the good people that support us here, Crystal Hot Sauce. Shout out to all the crystals in the world. Shout out to anybody else that I'm forgetting here. Shout out to Lito. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Chad. Shout out to Five. Shout out to Ross. Shout out to Lala. And shout out to
You just
y'all,
shout.
man.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shouting today. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm here to pod. Yeah, I'm here to pod.
Hey yo, 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 hey yo.
That was anybody could shout like that was.
Anyway, so look, y'all, we got a cool show here today, man. I'm trying to, if we gonna pod, right? I'm trying to keep that in the mind. You know what I'm saying? Justin, you gonna watch this show, and I got it, bro. I got it. I'm gonna set it up.
Oh, your boy's fancy.
I'm gonna hit myself in the face. I'm gonna scratch myself.
Pardon me?
With the we being professional. All right, so look. Anyway,
Right.
look, we Rocky Star here. So we talking defense. Does defense matter? I've been kind of kind of in the shadows, but I've been seeing some of the stuff that's been circulating online and the conversations about certain people the Pelicans should acquire, and the conversation has seemed to jump back to Trae Young. And lately, Lito, I see you've been heavily involved in talking about defense. There's other stuff happening with the Pelicans, coaching stuff. We'll say that for a different show. But I want to break down defense and if defense should matter when talking about not just Trae Young, but anybody that the Pelicans acquire. And we're talking about next year and their direction going forward. Lito, you've had quite a few things to say online about it. I have a couple of your tweets. I saw Five say some things. I saw Chaz put out a tweet today talking about, it was either today or yesterday, talking about what people are ignoring while discussing the things that they maybe find unfavorable. And some other really, really good things that we'll get into, some screenshots that we got here. But first, how you doing, bro? And what's your ultimate or your overall thoughts about defense, the guard position, and how much it matters or doesn't matter for the Pelicans?
I think me, you, Coach Mike, we talked about this couple pods a couple months ago. We talked about basketball philosophies and evolution and watching the games, things like that. And I came to the realization, like, I'm gonna say this, but I'll explain the nuance of it when I say it. I don't care about defense. And I know when you hear that, it sounds like I'm saying defense in total is like like not what I'm worried about. I'm not saying that. You have to have defensive players on the floor, but you don't need 5 of them. In my Trae Young argument, him, I don't care about defense at all. Honestly, look, you saw a team in the playoffs fail to score 100 points 4 times. 4 times. They still was a top 6 defense throughout the season. I think they held the Thunder to 90 points a couple of games in that series. Defense is not the issue with this team. Even without Zion Williamson, they should have won a game. a game. You know what I'm saying? Like a game. When you look at the stagnation of Pelicans basketball, you can clearly see it is a disjointed offensive focus somewhere. The pillars, the foundation of the offense, they don't connect. There's no it's not seamless. It's not a seamless fit. And it's because honestly, it's a couple reasons. It's 1 and 14. They don't mesh well. All season we've been calling for a pick and roll between the two. And it's so crazy, man. I was watching, shout out to Schmidt. I was watching Schmidt tweeted something today, and he tweeted this play, which was Zion trying to. It was a weak pick, by the way. Zion's he does not set good picks.
Mm-mm.
But he set a pick on Jared Allen, who then switched on Brandon,
Mm.
which meant I think Okoro went with Zion. In
Yeah.
this case, Jared Allen is guarding Brandon on the perimeter. Brandon could not beat Jared Allen off the dribble. It did not
Yeah.
matter if the pick and roll is called when the parts don't. It's like, and it's funny because you think about AD and Boogie, right? That was a pick and
Mhm.
roll with two bigs, and it worked. But the
Yep.
thing is, their skill set was totally different. Boogie, I mean AD too. They had guard like ability.
They both had
But
gravity too in different
they
ways
both had
with the
gravity.
basketball in their hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like whatever the difference between the two, Brandon and insert whoever named Boogie or AD is, they had the mismatch regardless of whatever the pick was.
And
You know what I'm saying?
that should be the thought, Lito. Like, you know, I think we sometimes, and maybe we're all guilty of this, but you want the perfect player.
Yeah.
And the thing eventually you realize is that the perfect player isn't going to be available for trade, you know? Um unless a team is unless that star player is looking to force his way out, or you're a prime destination. 9 times out of 10, the perfect player, period, or the perfect player for you isn't going to be available. So anybody the Pelicans acquire is gonna have some kind of flaws, no matter who you think they are. It could be mental, it could be offensively, it could be defensively, it could be shooting. And for Trae Young, it's his stature and one could argue his ability, how he chooses to move when he doesn't have the basketball in his hand, and just his overall commitment to defense. But look, man, I hear there are, if you believe in what in Willie Green's strength, which since he's arrived in New Orleans, you have gotten, let's see here, you got a they weren't great defensively when he in the first year, but that was an odd season in total. But if you look at the last 2 years, for example, they finished both years. When we're talking defensive rating, they finished sixth and seventh.
Right.
This season offensive rating, they finished 11th, and the season before that they finished 21st. But the highest that they finished, period, in the David Griffin era, I believe it's been 12th. They finished no higher than 12th. But we've seen teams they run with pace. We've seen teams finish third or second in pace. We've seen um we've seen elite defensive teams on paper. What's happening here?
Oh, somebody outside is literally
No,
blowing
not
up.
you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
that person outside wants more offense. That's all.
But they about to
That's
get
all.
some. They about to get some offense. This motherfucker keep blowing his horn. They wake this baby up.
But
It,
yeah, bro, I think, like, you're not gonna get the perfect player. DeJounte Murray, um, I think just based off of the type of team that I would like to build and the overall flexibility it gives you defensively and his size. And I think he was a better shooter last year, but he's not Trae Young with the basketball in his hand. He's just simply not. Trae Young can operate from 30 feet. And even if he's not efficient from there, he's going to be respected as such. His ability to play the pick and roll, his ability as a space creator, his overall ability as a creator or as a scorer, it is what it is. You may not like his brand of basketball. You may not like or believe that it's conducive to winning. But there are guys that are playing now, that are currently playing now in the playoffs, and that we've seen in this postseason, that weren't always viewed that way either, that are buying in as a part of a program. Guys that I saw Luka Doncic get 5 steals the other night. I saw Kyrie Irving get into a stance, guard, get into a stance against Anthony Edwards, and make Ant have to reset and move the basketball.
So thank you. Because when I say defense does not matter, I'm strictly talking, bro, all you gotta do is get situational stops. You don't gotta be you don't have to be an elite defensive player 100% of the time. You just gotta be able to get stops when it matters. And that's what the playoffs is about. It's about getting stops when it matters. Kyrie sitting down in a defensive stance, it's winning time at that point. You know what time it is. That man an NBA champion already, right? Luka trying to get there, bro. Look, it's all, bro. You give me effort. If Trae Young gives you effort on that, and the video I just text you, I just uploaded into the claim. There's effort there. I want to say one thing before you get to that tweet. You said that we haven't seen Trae Young play off the ball. I think it's a reason for that. Because I think DeJounte Murray is a fine player. I think he is a solid guy. I think for his ability, he does what he can do to get over. To get him on this team would, in my opinion, if you're looking at him, you should just keep Brandon. You should just keep Brandon. He would not move the needle. He's older, and the talent gap between he's older than BI. The talent gap between him and Trey, in my opinion, it is leaps and bounds. Trey has not had a player as great as Zion Williamson in order to get him looks like that. He's got, if you look at every big around him, though, he's been productive. Look at John Collins without Trey, right? Where the fuck is John Collins?
He playing all right in Utah.
He playing all right. I'm hearing rumors though that like they fed up with him because he didn't know the playbook. He played with Trae Young. He didn't need to know a play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And look, Lito, I don't want it to get lost that like you look at Minnesota's team. Minnesota has a plethora of solid defensive capable, or even you can call them defensive specialists, right? Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. While you wouldn't call him a great defender, if anything, he adds some type of issues with his overall size and some of the things that you can do there in lineups. Mike Conley isn't the defender that he necessarily used to be, but he's a very smart defender. And Edwards, we've seen it really good and willing. And then you Nikhil and Kyle Anderson and even Naz Reid, like they have they have the options, and it worked for them. It gave them a really good season. Boston is another example. But at the end of the day, Boston's overall, I guess, the thing that makes them great is how they overwhelm you offensively. Yes, they can do some amazing things defensively, but they're at their best when they're spacing the floor, when they're making threes, and they're forcing you to do things that you don't want to do defensively. And I think you got back-to-back years and beyond, but back-to-back years specifically of watching the Pelicans be a really good defensive team, but not find a way to create enough easy buckets when it mattered the most. Injuries aside, and I think that's what they have to figure out. Like, man, look at Dallas. Is it one specialist that they have out there to offer you? Daniel Gafford's a really, a really good rim protector. Derek Lively offers you some things there. Derek Jones Jr. I think is a really, a really solid defender. But none of those guys are on Herb. Would you call them any of those guys on the level of Herb Jones?
No, not at all. No.
What about even Dyson Daniels?
No. Because I think he's a better on ball defender than Herb. So no.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand the thought, but what makes Dallas go is when it comes down to the fact that you dealing with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and they got guys to buy in. PJ Washington wasn't a dude. He didn't come from a winning situation. He didn't come from a team in Charlotte that knew how to win basketball games. He came in, bought into a role, and now he's changing the narrative about himself. Daniel Gafford didn't come from a winning situation. You know what I'm saying? Derek Jones Jr. is getting paid $2 million right now. I think on a 1-year deal. They bought in as a team collectively, and they're two main guys as well. We know the conversations with Kyrie Irving. There's been something about Luka as well.
Man.
What's your environment like?
Yep. And what's your environment like? Have you been put in situations where you can be your best self, where you can play your best basketball? Is the team structured in a way to allow you to thrive? In Trae Young's case, I would say that his teams have had talent. I think he has a good coach now, but all together, like, him playing with. First of all, let's start here. He took that team to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of people gonna say things that they're gonna say words, but I ain't. I'd cry. I go to my front porch and cry if my team got to the Western Conference Finals. Like I would shed actual tears. He was a villain. He embraced that role. He was he was playing basketball. He was playing mind games with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, you understand the type of moxie this guy has. He's a hooper for real. Personally, I was reading Trae Young's dad's tweets a couple weeks ago, and his dad was basically saying, everybody think Trae wants to be the man, but Trae's never been in a position where he can play off the ball. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's another really good point that we have to focus on, Lito. This would be his first real opportunity as being a secondary star, being a number 2.
Yep.
Playing with a generational talent as Zion. I mean, that alone changes your mentality. Being traded more than likely changes your mentality. Being doubted, having something to prove, being in a place where you're going to be wanted and having a new challenge. But I mean, forget just playing off ball. We got to think about the fact that this would be his first time going into in a long time, maybe if ever, going into a situation where he knows it's not about him. He's clearly not the guy, and he's a secondary option. What does that free up for him?
Everything. It frees up everything. And not only does it free up everything for him, it frees up everything for Zion. And not only does it help Zion out, it's gonna help Trae out. Trae,
Mm-hmm.
it would be monumental for Trae, both of them. It's gonna help CJ. We oftentimes, like, the whole timeline talks about CJ's over dribbling, or um he y'all know what y'all call him. Y'all call him a basketball terrorist. He over dribbles. He does this. He's not running in the flow of the offense, even though the offense has no flow. Trey will help with that. He would give CJ um so many spot up threes, set shots, if you will, that he wouldn't even have to put the ball on the floor to shoot it. It would just be muscle memory at that point. And Zion would likely do the same thing for Trey. Trey would not have to. It's weird, dog, because Trey takes a lot of threes, but Trey also lives in the paint, especially for a small guard. He lives in the paint. He takes a lot of shots at the rim. Um, I think with this team, he could probably average 11, 12 assists a game.
And if you go back to that season in which they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, or you even look at the Knicks, it got to a point to where they went out and got OG Anunoby. Josh Hart was in the starting lineup but the other time, Julius Randle was in the starting lineup at one point. You had Hardenstein and or Mitchell Robinson at your center position. You had DiVincenzo. Like, you also have to, and you wouldn't be able to do it necessarily this season, right? Trae Young, for me, no different than any move that I think you would need to be making right now if you do for a point guard. It needs to be about the next 3 years. I would bet on CJ McCollum not being a Pelican in the next 3 years. I would bet him, you know what I'm saying? So you will be thinking long term. And I know people, there were folks saying, well, yeah, you bring in Trey. Well, we saw Dame and CJ play together. Well, first, Dame and CJ were teams that consistently got to the playoffs. And once again, they also made a Western Conference Final, something that the Pelicans haven't done. But here's the biggest element to all of this. Hey, everybody. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, y'all. Zion wasn't on that team.
Right.
Zion went to Portland. He did go to Portland. He went to Portland. He went to the Nike facility, and everything. He was getting his mind right. He was doing, what he was doing when he was rehabbing from his foot injury. But, there's other things to consider as well. This team still has not had a rim protector in David Griffin's tenure. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still haven't seen what that looks like. If you are trading Brandon Ingram and you're creating a situation where, or you're opening up a solution for Trey Murphy somehow to get into the starting lineup at some point soon. If you're talking Trey Murphy and you're talking Herb Jones, or you're able to figure out that center position, some type of rim protector, you should like your options, even if you have a small backcourt. Now, I don't know. The bigger question that I would ask you, Lito, is if you go out and get a center, let's say they do get a starting center, and let's say they trade for Trae Young.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to pay Trey Murphy $100+ million.
Yeah.
The easy thing signals what we just talked about. CJ McCollum is warming the spot in the starting lineup up for Trey Murphy sooner than later. But it's not coming this season, upcoming. After this one's over, it's not coming right away. How would you deal with that?
Man, CJ a professional, for one. He a professional. Like, the writing is on the door. He understands how these things work. You know what I'm saying? He was a young player who took another player's spot at some point, actually his second year. So, you know what I'm saying? He's seen it. He's an intellectual. That guy, he knows the natural progression of things. But let me just, before I expound on that, let me just say one thing. People complain about a Dame and CJ backcourt. We've seen that already. So you've seen it make the playoffs 10 straight years. What is the issue? I'm trying to figure out, like, what is the problem? Like, they consistently did the thing, and it's so crazy because a lot of this shit was.
Pardon me.
I'll let you slide with you. You said something. You said something a little crazy. I didn't.
Well, What I say?
It's all right. Um I'm trying to reword. I'm trying to reword this, but I hate that nigga. Like I hate him so much.
Dr. King?
No, hey, somebody go be on. Hey,
You, you,
whoever
you more
whoever
Malcolm
you
X guy?
whoever you when the last time you played that, boy, you had somebody hot.
Oh, he felt super disrespected. He felt super disrespected. How dare you do that to Dr. Martin Luther King? How dare you?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, y'all got too much technology. They should have never gave y'all all this technology. Never. Um,
Shout out to Dr. Martin Luther King.
rest in peace,
Go ahead,
brother.
though. Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the thing what was I saying? Oh, we was talking about Damon. Yeah. Yo, bro, give me 10 straight years of a playoff. Like just like give me 10 straight years. Like what I'm trying to figure out what the issue is. But
Dog, give me something that doesn't have to be broken down and restructured, every year. Give me something that doesn't bring you back to after every season. You know what I'm saying? Something else to say, all right, at least for Portland. Now, they didn't handle it right, but they got to a point to where they say, all right, boom, right? We're gonna give Alan Crabb money. Or we're gonna go out and get Evan Turner. Or we're gonna
right.
go out and pay for Al-Farouq Aminu. Or we're gonna go and pay for what's the backup? Ezeli from Portland. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry, from Golden State in the early years of the championship. Like,
Festus.
right. Festus. Like, that's what they continue to do because they figured out their identity. And if Trae Young doesn't give you anything else, if he don't give you shit else, he gives you an instant identity next to Zion Williamson because anybody, if you've seen basketball one time, you know how those two guys in space can be used and how they can play off of each other and how those two period are going to space the floor and then makes life easier for CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, whatever center that you add. The list goes on and on. And that's the biggest thing that I forgot to say. We've been talking about it, for a long time now. Identity. Trae Young and others, but him specifically, brings identity even with his flaws.
Yeah, I agree with that. Trey Young knows who he is. He knew who he was day one. There was no discovery period in the NBA for him. But I do think there will be. I think there will be a discovery period as far as like his next stop or his next step because he's never been a two. He's never been the second option yet. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think it will be a period of I think it will be a period of like just an experiment. It's going to be an experimental period. However, I do want to say this too. I don't think center is the position. Center is the problem for the Pelicans. Like whoever you could, bro. Like I'm not saying you could get the the greeter from Walmart and put him at center, but I'm saying if you were to get a typical NBA big, I think I'm not saying he gonna give you Jonas' production, but I'm saying I just don't see the problem being center. The problem was the Pelicans had an offense with a bad transmission.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like at some point when that shit get to running, it just you've been on the interstate a minute, you pull over to get gas, you cut it off, you try to start it in the fourth quarter, it just died. It is dead. We got to tow it
Look,
out of here.
like son, the center right now, while the Celtics are missing Porzingis, is Al Horford. You know what I mean? The center
54-year
for
old.
he your age. You know what I'm saying? The center for the Pacers is Miles Turner, and you see the jokes that fly off about his inconsistency and some of the problems of his game. The starting center for Dallas as of late, it was a lottery pick out of the recent draft. A rookie, Derek
Right.
Lively. his backup / co-starter, they got for cheap a former second round pick, I believe, for the Bulls drafted him, Daniel Gafford. Like you look around, like you don't have to have this game changing option. And I'm not saying it necessarily has to be a guy, either. He has to be somebody you just sign off the street. But I do agree there as well, bro. Like, there's ways if the right center, like if you're Oklahoma City and Chet Holmgren falls to you, great.
Right.
That's just another tool, and in ways you can expand. And he fits what they're trying to do perfectly. But like Pelicans been trying to figure this center position for way too long. Versus, I think not. Like go and figure out the most important thing at this point. Go and figure out a dynamic player that's gonna fit your superstar. Now that you're moving, now that it seems like you're moving on from Brandon Ingram, go figure that out. And who knows, the right center might instantly become available, but it don't mean that it has to be another Steven Adams, a Jonas Valanciunas type, or we even know. But it's a good chance it might be easier to find than you think it is.
The correct. Then the thing with Trae Young is whoever the center is with Trae Young is gonna be the right center. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for what James Harden did for Clint Capella, Trae did the same thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like you take these rim running lob threats, and if you don't have a guard, a la Jackson Hayes, right? You give Jackson Hayes a competent guard, he probably looked like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I was about to say Tyson Chandler, but that was disrespectful because he never gonna be that on defense. But just as far as the lob threat, you know what I'm saying? Like he looks like that. The guard position is the need for the Pelicans. That is the need. And look, people are gonna hear this pod and be like, well, what about Point Zion? Point Zion this, Point Zion that. And that's totally cool in spurts. But he cannot be your full-time point guard. He is not
your identity.
He is not that. He can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Pelicans figuring that out also, when to and when not to, is gonna be a big thing, a big deal for the Pelicans. Hell, I like to see Trey Murphy. Hopefully he comes back with a better handle, do more ball handling, initiate more of the offense, be that type of player. I don't want him to just think he gotta be a shooter.
I mean, look, man, I think that the worry that I think we get into sometimes, and I kind of said it earlier, is that people get more worried about what someone can't do versus what they can do. But there are people that really support Willie Green that that will tell you that people will buy into the program. There are people inside of the organization in New Orleans that preach about their program, some of the guys that they have in the locker room, how tight they are, their culture, and so on and so forth. Well, if you believe in your program and you believe in your coach and you believe in what you're building and you believe you got a couple raw deals, to say the least, then you shouldn't have a problem really adding anybody. You shouldn't have a problem having anybody. You should believe that anybody, any talent that you bring in, they will eventually buy in and everything else will take care of itself. So, Lito, that leads me to this. Sam here says, been a brilliant writer, I think, for quite some time. I think he started off in San Antonio, but has been putting out work for decades now. Maybe it was Oklahoma City. Anyway, Trae Young is a far superior player to both DeJounte Murray and Darius Garland. Not sure why teams would suggest they are less interested in Young than those two.
That's fool's goal.
And look, and that's not to say that I think I would like to see DeJounte Murray as a Pelican. We just did a show about Darius Garland a couple weeks ago. Love what I saw on film. I think he could fit as well. But But if you're talking about who's the
That's a
most
little crazy.
dynamic,
That's a little crazy.
huh?
That's a little crazy. Hold
What
on.
I do?
I just can't let you breeze past that. That was a little crazy.
What I say?
You said I think he could.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Accountability, bro.
Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo.
I think Darius Garland would be a good addition to the franchise as well.
Okay.
Because but the thing in common that all three of those players have is that what? They're point guards. And
Yep.
it's clear that the Pelicans should be and are in the market. They've been linked to several point guards. Maybe you think Darius Garland's a better player. Maybe you think DeJounte Murray's the better player. But my challenge to any of you would be, if it's Trae Young, where's Darius Garland, where's DeJounte Murray, you should not be looking at those players just in regards to next season. I think Trae Young has about 3 to 4 years left on his contract.
Right.
DeJounte Murray, same kind of thing. Darius Garland, same kind of thing. Like, all these guys are going to be in the Pelicans uniform for more than likely a longer time than a CJ McCollum. You need to be asking yourself that if they strip this team down, roster-wise, if they get rid of all of any of your favorites, if they say we're gonna start like Philadelphia 76ers, it's gonna be like it's Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and it's almost like everybody else is coming off damn books. They building it, they rebuilding it like a 2K team. If the Pelicans end up doing that, would you be okay with it being Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, or Darius Garland as the person next to Zion Williamson, throwing in a Trey Murphy, a Herb Jones? Because this is about core. It's not just about what you do next season.
I would be okay with 2 of the 3. I would not be okay with DeJounte being in that role. Cause this is the thing. It's a hierarchy. Trey's the better player out of all 3. I think DeJounte, my personal opinion, I like I'm not even gonna say he's better. I like Garland more than DeJounte. I think for me, specifically when I think about game changers, that's Trae Young. DeJounte was in the West, right? And I've seen him. I've never seen teams fear him. I've seen Herb Jones be able to take a DeJounte Murray away. I've seen the same Herb Jones on the Trae Young, and it's a totally different ball game. With the handle, the creation, the speed, the craftiness. Chris, we talked about this all the time. Like people always say in regards to defense, offense, whatever. Man, he's a small guard. He's small, and it's like you think he just got short. Like you think he became short last week. Like you don't think he had to play against taller players his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that people give guys like, again, we already talked about him playing. He plays at the rim. He gets in he shoots a floater over 7-footers all the time. That's not something he just worked on last week. That shot has been probably in the working since 6th grade. For me, DeJounte Murray is not a guy who moves the needle. DeJounte Murray, and this is in no disrespect to him, again, because I think he's a fun player. He's a band-aid. I think DeJounte is a band-aid, and I think his defense is highly overrated.
That's and I don't again, I don't know if DeJounte Murray is the piece. I don't know if he's the player. Like you would then have to be okay. DeJounte Murray and who else? We'll probably be talking
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
right. We would be talking about DeJounte Murray and Okongwu again, similar to the conversation we were having about in the trade deadline. And it's back to does Trey Murphy have another step that we haven't seen yet? And I still think in that situation, you're probably putting a lot of pressure on Zion. Their ultimate goal, no matter what, whoever it is, even if it is DeJounte, Lito, should be finding a co-star, a perfectly fitting, gravitational, um, um, creation, or with an ability to create with the basketball in their hands, off the basketball, the spot of it, whatever the case may be, next to Zion. That should be it. I know we have this thing to where we've seen Zion make some really good, amazing things happen on the floor with less. We've seen that. But we also see what that can do to him out of nowhere. Every time he's gotten on these runs, pretty much to where he's in the way to playing his best basketball. Do you know that he messed up his hamstring in that Laker game, scoring, I believe, his 40th point?
43rd.
Was career. Yeah, his 43rd, his first time scoring 40 points in his career, and that's when the season ends. But think about what it took for him in that last week. Think about what it took and all the pressure and the responsibility that was on him. He just simply may not be the guy that has to take that level of creation and that level of responsibility. His body just may not be made to have to do that, man. Not at
Yo,
that
check.
not at that weight.
My bad. I ain't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
Nah, look. Just because you see I could do it, right? You see it can be done. Why do I have to do it with less? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I know, yeah, like that's hey Chris, I know you could cook, dog. Look, I don't have these ingredients. I forgot to bring them, bro. But man, just figure it out, bro. You could do it. Like, who do you think? I mean, obviously, like Zion's a generational talent for sure. But bro, nobody has done, and I'm not. When I say this, I'm not saying that the Pelicans don't have talent or they don't have anybody, but nobody has won anything on their own. You gotta have, if you gotta bring the guys with you, or they gotta meet you at your level. Not even at your level, but they just gotta raise their level. The thing, and for me, that's all on ownership. That's ownership. That's
Yeah.
front office shit. Like that's 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 ducking the tax shit. That's being cheap.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you
That's wasted.
know,
That's being lazy. It's being short sighted.
that's being lazy, it's being short sighted. If you know, right, this kid could probably reach the sun if you let him, but you gotta put the people around him in order to do it. Pay the money to bring the talent in. I don't give bro. Look, I got no love for a billionaire's pockets. It's not my money. I do not care. Spend it.
Yeah.
Spend it.
Or look at right, like a lot of folks um compared, the popular thing at one point was to compare Joel Embiid's early career in regards to game missed and played to Zion Williamson. And look at when things change, right? Yes, Joel's diet became a little bit better. Yes, sometimes with injury, it is a matter of luck. But ultimately, Ben Simmons being there helped him out a lot. Prime Ben Simmons, if you can say that. The
No,
best
you can
versions
definitely
of
say
Ben
that.
Simmons.
You
Yeah,
can say
yeah.
that.
So prime Ben Simmons. Then going out and adding a Tobias Harris. They didn't necessarily, they didn't get every dollar that they paid for, but there was a time where that still helped out Joel Embiid. Hell, then you go out and get JJ Redick. Then you go out and you get Jimmy Butler. Then that don't work, and you end up with James Harden. And in between all of that, you get Tyrese Maxey. And they about to figure out a way to do it again, whether it's with Paul George or maybe Brandon Ingram, whoever it is. They realize what kind of superstar they have. As spectacular as that person, that individual is, they've been on the hunt to not just figure out a co-star, the third star as well. The role
Yeah.
players, the fitting parts and pieces around the Pelicans are now, I think, we've been talking about it for a while, but I'm hoping that we're not worrying about defense and worried about the things that some of these players can't do if they simply one way or another can preserve games, preserve the health, preserve the usage and the energy, and make the game easier for them, for the guy that you are now 100% sure is running in your franchise and is number one. And I don't care if it's Trae Young, I don't care if it's Darius Garland, I don't care if it's DeJounte Murray. They need to 100% invest in that, and then let's see what they can do going forward.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to be right. I'm sure you don't want to be right about the Pelicans. I know, Chaz, Five, Justin, Ross. We don't want to be right. I want to. I
Yeah.
want to be. I want to celebrate them, and I want to. I want to be a fan. But
Mm.
you know what I'm saying. I can't just let the nearsightedness of certain stuff, certain things, just go. I think if you if you're in a position to lead a franchise and you're not using foresight, if you're not forecasting your future, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing this for. Like you had, and look. I'm gonna be the first person to say this. A lot of this, 90% of this is Zion's fault. 90% of it is his fault. Because if he'd have took it serious from the beginning, if he'd have came in shape, if he'd have came into the season in shape, multiple seasons, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be going into year 6 just realizing that this partnership between those two didn't work. So I don't want people here trade Brandon, and I'm gonna say this again. I think Brandon is a good player. I just think that they don't work. I think Brandon is a very good player. Those two guys just don't work. That's Zion's fault. However, once you see the pairing and you choose to do nothing, or you choose to not put intermediary players with them to kind of, I guess, commingle their talents, that's where you fail.
Yeah,
You
because
got to
you
get
got
more
the
shooting around them.
because Lito, you got the role players, right? You like you have, even if you don't have all of the role players, you have some really high end role players. Like Trey Murphy may be entering. I do want to close with a question about him, but Trey Murphy, high end role player with his skill set and what he's been able to prove, and what his contract and his numbers are about to say. You got a first team all defensive guy now finally in Herb Jones, who improved
Yay.
his shooting, improved his 3-point shooting up to 40%, which I told Ross there was no way hell he was going to do that after last year. We'll see how that continues to develop. But you have that. You have the specialist coming into year 2, the shooting specialist that was on his way to a rookie team in Jordan Hawkins. You have with that confidence. You have. We'll see if Dyson if Dyson is still a Pelican, but if he is, like with the right improvements in some areas offensively or as a shooter, we know what he can do defensively and some of the things that he's able to do. Like they're there. Jose Alvarado in some stretches have been really good for you. If he's still on the team in spurts? You got so many. So I think you have a lot more of mid-tier to good players that are coming back on this team that can be useful. Larry Nance for maybe I don't know 10 the 15 to 20 games he feeling like himself. But the problem has been since day one has been the overuse and the putting players in situations that don't help them succeed best and don't help your team succeed best. This year, that has to end. And for it to end, you have to go out and get a foundational piece. CJ is a guy I forgot about. You see the way he changed his game and fit into a different role. I don't think that like that's going to fit with any of these guys that we name. He can come back and be the same exact player. But now it's time to go out and get a number 2, a co-star, a duo, somebody for Zion to be in a buddy cop movie with. And this time they have to fit his skill sets. They don't have to be his personality, but they gotta fit or pacify or mesh well with what he does. And a lot of this other shit may not matter. If those two are right, it may not matter later on in the season how good Trey Murphy or Herb Jones is doing. It may not some games how good. You may not care who's at center. You may not care what kind of game CJ McCollum is having. Because 1 and 2 decided, or 1 and 11 decided, or 1 and 10, whatever Trae Young's number, or whoever, they decided we're not losing this game. That's what superstars do. We've seen them do it. That's what Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving did the other night. Their role players played well, but guess what? Fourth quarter, they decided it's our time. They both end the night with 33 points. They win the game, put the game away. There was nothing you could do because there was no defense. There was no amount. You talking about a team, Lito, with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a team with Jaden McDaniels, the Defensive Player of the Year, and Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, who's been on a few different all-NBA defensive teams, I believe, in his career. All those guys I just named, and a few of them are guard/wing defenders. I believe 4 out of the 6 I just named are guard and wing defenders, and there was nothing you could do. Jaden Daniels played the best defense you could ask of any human being to play on Luka Doncic, and you had nothing for it. That's what superstars do. That's what happens. And when they're together, it's even differently. You take one of them off the floor, it might look a little different because your coverages are different, but together, those two complement each other, and they won that game, and they're going to win this series because of that, and there's nothing you can do about it. Pelicans got to start. They have to make that same move, that same change. And maybe we can have a conversation about them next year, the year after that, finally.
I'd love to. I would love to. Defense does not matter.
All right, man. Let's end the show talking Trey Murphy. Lito, somebody asked me the other day.
Young or Murphy? Young or Murphy?
Trey Murphy. All right. My bad. Somebody asked me the other day. They said, "How do you pay a guy that would start for almost every team in the league over $100 million and still be looking at penciling him into a 6-man role next season?"
Like this. Here you go. Like that. Hey, look. He should be starting. Yes, he should be starting. And look. Depending on how aggressive the Pelicans are this offseason, he could be starting.
Wait. I think we got another show to do. It don't have to be tonight. All right,
write it down. Right.
I'm about to say you about to.
I was about to go.
I seen the bag. You all right. I seen. Did y'all see? Did y'all?
Write it down so you don't forget it.
All right, I got you. He's about to go crazy. I seen it with foresight. Pelicans, y'all gotta see the play before the play.
Come on, man.
Look, man. We gonna get y'all out of here. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. We about to all go crazy on the content. It was about to be a fire June from start to finish. It's about to be a fire end of May. I got some other ideas. We just came up. We just had one right there now. All of a sudden, but hey, But yo, man, go check out Chaz's recent shows, man. Go check out 5 shows. I know he had a show on Herb Jones. I believe it was last week. Lito had a show on Herb Jones last week. Propels Talk, just us as a collective, had a show yesterday, and it's gonna be a few others this week as well. You got something else?
The Trae Young defense video.
What the hell is it?
Let me see. Just the last.
Looking. Brown. We're down to 10 to shoot. They get the ball into Halliburton's hands, and Trae's on him. Halliburton looking to drive. It's a strip.
KK hands it back to him. The shot clock is ticking down. Cole Anthony trying to cross over. And it taken away by...
Down to Dinwiddie. Spencer with 6, 5. Dinwiddie had it stripped. Take it away. Kick down, DJ. Now's the time. 5 seconds, 4. Maxey looking. Spade. He lost the handle. Which way is it going to go? It's going to be Atlanta.
You got a piece of the ball right there.
Well, he has done that. That's a perfect call.
Wembanyama shadowed him. Oh, it's a steal. Jeremy Sohan going to the hole. A whistle and an off.
Now, imagine that with Zion. Imagine that with the Zion we saw when he right. Trey Murphy the end of last year, and Herb Jones. Make it happen, Pelicans. Don't be scared about defense. Don't be scared about what could go wrong. Take a risk. Take a chance. Like, take a visit to this century, the year we in. People ready for it. The city want it. The people want it. Prove to us that it's not going to work. Let's finally see something that can get this team, take this team in the next 5 years that we could really be talking about a real 1-2 again. We ain't seen it in a long time, or to be able to last in a long time. But yeah, man, holla at y'all to the next show. Man, it looked like Najee out of here, so I'm not even going. I'm retiring the Najee video.
Rest in peace, Naj.
Yeah. I feel like we seen the last of 8th the Great, but shout out to 8th the Great. This gonna be our new closer.
Sit here and we zone out, you dig, and just appreciate how it came and thank God for the blessings.